I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages of my marketing. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal Mitchell
and Gilbert Buchanan, the small business paramedic. And we were off to a beautiful, beautiful start today. We're going to have a great show, Crystal.
We are actually going to have a fantastic show. We have a great guest, and we have one in the studio and one coming in. This is, April was supporting Black Business Month. Mm-hmm. And so today we're doing a little uniqueness. We're doing the publishing world and the book and literary world as a business. And mainly because this weekend is the Black Writers on Tour conference that is hosted every year by Dr. Rosie Milligan. And so there'll be over 100 writers here in Los Angeles. There are workshops and seminars, and they have a wonderful guest this particular conference, Dr. Boyce Watkins, who has been very, very active on social media. He talks about civil rights. He talks about just all the issues that pertain to our community. So
that's good. That's good information there.
So it's going to be at the Carson Center in Carson, California. So tomorrow morning, I think it starts at 10. And when Dr. Thompson comes on, our guest, she will give us all the details about it. And it
sounds like a plan.
It's so wonderful when you have a nice grouping of people that support what you do.
That is true. That is true. It makes it feel like it's worth all the effort you're putting.
All the effort. Yes, so I put out a call out yesterday. At first I'm thinking, not that we can't hold a show down by ourselves, but I called out to Dr. Rosie. I said, Dr. Rosie, you're having the Black Writers on Tour, and we want to help promote that. Somebody want to come over on the show? I didn't even hang up the phone or even send an email, and Barbara Lindsay called me. She goes, I got two people, then I got another people I'm working on. So it was fantastic. That's how we got our guest today.
That's beautiful.
Put out a call, and that's the beauty of networking.
See, that means that a lot of people out there have a lot to say to the small business community, and that's how this happens.
Right, exactly.
So this is phenomenal. For those of you who are listening, just tuning in for the first time, our phone number here is 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375. This is the Business Zone. And if you don't know what the Business Zone is about, we are a platform where small business and supply diversity contract providers come together to provide opportunity and success for small businesses.
That is what we do. So tell me, co-host, you've been missing in action. I feel like I haven't seen you in 300 years.
I know. I was having withdrawals. I'm going, I haven't seen her in a long time. It's like a year. Wow. It's been so long. But yes, I've been up in Vegas. They're doing this show for the Nevada Contractors Association, and things are stepping up over there. They're getting ready to build that stadium.
Okay.
So as you know, for the Raiders,
okay.
As you know, many of the small contractors that we're training in our workshop, they're trying to prepare them to work on that project.
Okay.
So we want to teach them everything about business readiness, contract readiness, and bank loan readiness.
Fantastic.
Oh, yes.
So we're becoming not just in the state of California, but branching on out to the state of Nevada.
That's what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, when I went there, they gave me an orientation last week. Is it last week? Yeah, last week. They wanted me to learn the process, how it works and all of that. And then they're asking me, so when are you going to set up your office here?
Okay.
So, I have to let them know that that's in the process. And we're looking into some economic development agencies to see if we can get some affordable rent facilities. Okay. So at least we'll have something. And when you come to Vegas, you'll have an office too for yourself. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much, but it's jumping. The place is jumping.
Yeah.
A lot of construction, a lot of building is going on because of the fact that because the stadium is coming, everybody's gearing up. All the properties are going up in value. The roads, they're going to need to widen them because it's going to be so much traffic.
And I think water, too. I think last time that Vegas had a major growth, which was before the recession took place, and they had built all the way back to North Vegas, all the way up to the hills.
Yes.
And at that time, one of my close friends, they lived in Vegas, and I went there once a month to do their accounting and so forth.
Yes.
And at that time, there was an issue about water because they weren't. Vegas wasn't built to have that many people as residents.
Exactly. So I got to give the mayor of Las Vegas a lot of props and a lot of credit, though, because they bring a lot of events and activities there, a lot to sustain the whole area. And this is what they said to me. They said, "We appreciate you so much coming here and spending all those high fees on our hotels and all of that so we don't have to pay taxes."
Oh, wow. That's okay.
That's what they tell me. I said, so that's all you guys need me for, to pay your taxes?
Yeah, because
because they don't pay taxes there. So I'm thinking, maybe I might want to think a little bit there. So the prices of homes are still lower than here.
Yes, they are.
But they're going up.
Yeah, they got some beautiful homes there.
Yeah.
We used to, because they were living there, some of the things that we used to do back in the day, because they had a lot of new housing development areas, and go to see the open houses.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Just absolutely gorgeous.
And they're doing a lot more. They're building these houses nicer. And the hotels, they're jacking us $29 a day. They call it a destination fee. Destination fee. For every night you stay in a hotel, you're paying that just because of what's going on.
In fact, I went there for, where did I go with this? In the early part of this year, I think with my girlfriend, and we actually bought a timeshare.
Yes.
Because we do go there.
Was it with Westgate?
It was Westgate.
Okay.
So we have
those guys are the biggest guys.
Yeah, so we have, and they're redoing what used to be the Las Vegas Hilton complex. So now it's Westgate. So beautiful. They're doing a good job. So when we were sitting there listening to the spiel, and we actually were staying, and I have other friends that have 2 or 3 timeshares in Vegas, and so they go all the time. So they'll kick us. They have some little packages, like $109 for a 4-day trip, which is not bad at all, right?
That's great.
Yeah, so
I'm paying like $100 and something for a night for a hotel.
Oh no!
They're jacking me.
Yeah, so with Westgate, I'll have that we'll have that option where we'll have like they call them getaway packages.
Yeah,
so it'll be like $99.
Wow,
and that'll be for 4 days.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, 4 or 5 days.
That's
so when we talked about that, and Vegas is so close, you can just drive to it, or if you're in the mood for flying. I actually don't like flying to Vegas because by the time you go through security, on both ends, you're already there.
I know.
Driving.
I know. I know.
And that's just a pain. And with the airlines, as crazy as they are right now, it's just there's some insanity going on.
Oh, I have some good news for you, Crystal.
And what's that?
You remember that accident I was in, right, back in 2015?
When you went to Vegas,
And I went to Vegas, right?
And you had just gotten your truck, right?
Yes, brand new, 16 days old. 16 days, and this guy smashed in the back of my SUV, totaled it. So the insurance company decided they weren't going to pay the full price for it. They're going to pay everything less $4,000.
Wow.
So then I had to try to sue the person to get my money back. Well, file a lawsuit, getting ready to go to court next month, only to find out they call, hey, we're going to settle.
Oh, good.
So they're going to pay me my money.
Oh, good for you. Well, that's good news.
Oh, yeah. So, Felicia, I got money for you today.
Yeah. Well, that's good news. That was that was the early part of last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, December 2015.
Right.
So, but the statute of limitation, it ends December of this year. So I was trying to make sure I get all my stuff. And it was just tough. So eventually they decided, So
congratulations.
So even the attorney said, I don't know how you did this, but this is good. This is good. I said, hey, I'm a pit bull. I'm vicious. I'm relentless. I want my money. And for those of you who are listening, when I do business with you, if you owe me money, I'm coming to collect.
They come and get your money.
That's right.
Well, that's excellent. Well, congratulations.
So thank you. So I'm very happy about that. So now I feel good about paying Felicia.
I got a little extra on top of the extra. Well, that's good.
So what have you been doing?
Let's see. Last week, still trying to get a couple of my clients compliant ready for some hopefully capital investment, capital loans, so that they can take their businesses to the next level.
Good.
Yesterday, I attended the celebration, the 35th anniversary for Vermont Slauson Economic Development Center.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
how did that go?
That was excellent. The new ED, or the new executive director, is Joe Razan.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait to meet him.
Oh, you've never met Joe? We're going to have him on the show. So
yes,
we're just trying to find the right time to bring him on.
Good.
Vermont, Marva Battle Bay, she was the director and she died last year. Mm-hmm. And so there was an interim, Andrea, who came here with Terry, and now Joe is there. So Joe has some very aggressive plans. He wants to work with all of the CBOs, the community-based organizations. He realizes that we can't do this alone, and we should not continue to work in silos.
That's good.
If we're going to make a change in our economics. He just got back, and I think I mentioned this to you the last time. He just got back from D.C., and he went with Maxine Waters, and it's not a pretty picture on the East Coast with all the block grants that they want to eliminate.
Yeah, they want to eliminate that.
Yeah, so he realizes, people is fine. And I spoke to a number of people. I think it's finally hitting people that we're on this island by ourselves, and so we need to do what we need to do. Right. So not everybody's going to come on board, but there's enough of us that want to make a difference and are making a change. So
as long as there's a coalition, others will get on board.
Right, exactly. Eventually, right. Yeah. So we got to be the one, and that's what I was telling them. I said, if you want people, and this is from the Recycling Black Dollars standpoint as well, if we want people to recycle and work together, then it's got to start from the top.
That's right.
So if the organizations can't work together, then what in the heck should anybody else work together?
That's right.
So they are now hearing that. What I did like about Joe, the bankers were there yesterday. He says, okay, it's time for you guys to get off the pot. Y'all, we don't want to hear no more talk.
That's what I'm talking about.
We want to see the action. Where is the money? What are you doing for us? And we're not going to sit back and be quiet about it anymore.
That's good.
So
I'm loving that.
So I liked it. And, Joe was kind of, I call him L.A. gangster because he's been in L.A. for a long time, and he worked in the police department. He's worked in all aspects. So he is a man about Los Angeles.
That's great.
So he says, now that I'm not working for the city, now I'm not working for the now I'm not working for the city, and I'm not working for the county, I can take the gloves off and I can get into the meat of it. And I am not going to be nice. He's going to mix it up.
That's
so that's
what I'm
good
talking.
Stuff, right?
Joe, the Business Zone is behind you all the way.
Exactly.
Just want to let you know that. We're here for you. So when you're ready, come on the show. We'll talk we'll strategize how we're going to go after these opportunities for small businesses.
And that's what we have to do. So that was what I did yesterday. What is anything else going on? I think that's pretty much it for me. It's just, I seem like I've been working a lot.
I know. I'm still working on getting you getting your system set up so we can go after these opportunities for payroll, accounting, and all of that. So,
okay. And there was another opportunity that just came up this past weekend. So, we voted to legalize marijuana or cannabis, right? So there was a big meeting today in that area. And so when I spoke with the young lady, and they talked about the business end of it, the growth end of it, where they call it from sod to seed to the business part, and that's the technology part of it. So they have to have accounting. It's going to be a major part of that, and training the the owners or the distributors on how to maintain, because there's going to be some really steep regulations when it comes to that. So there's going to be some opportunities. And then I was talking to my brother-in-law, and so we were thinking, so when she brought it to my attention, because I'm not into the growing part, that is not who I am, but I want to be on the backside, but I want to on the residual side. So when she told me, that's like, training. Okay, so train them how, bring people in, train them how, which you already do. We're already doing, right? At my SAC. And in some other places I'm going to be doing training. And then go into the organizations and do compliance once a month for a nice little tidy sum.
Teach them how to count their own money.
Right, exactly. Especially since it's going to be regulatory. And then I was telling my brother-in-law, because we don't have land, to grow, they're going to have to come up with some new, unique ways to grow. So one of his colleagues was talking about container type growth. And I said, yeah, you should do that as a franchise. Everything that's supposed to go into that.
With that,
right? And then you get royalties, and then you come in and make sure. So I told him, I said, forget all the hard. We don't want to be in the labor part anymore. Yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing, because you know what? Because it's a cash-based business and the federal entities cannot touch it.
Right.
Like meaning the banks, anything that's federally regulated, they can't touch it.
Right.
So that money is just flowing back and forth there. And somebody needs to either provide them with loans, lines of credit, or enable them to invest their cash from that type of business.
Right.
Now, who's that going to be? Somebody has to step up.
Right.
And from the training part of it, you're going to have to go in and help them to count their own money.
Right.
Because they don't know how to do that within a system like yours.
So it's so many opportunities in this new, because it's like a new cottage industry, right? But it's going to be like prohibition, where if everybody, you don't want to be the grower, because everybody can be doing that. And then that's like being a farmer.
Right.
So anything can affect that. It's the backside of it. They're going to need engineers. They're going to need, I think,
back office operations. Right. That's what we're bringing to the table.
Right. And I think they said even inspectors to make sure that they're doing
they're in compliance.
So that's
beautiful.
It's a whole new industry.
And this is what I teach in my class all the time. We got to look at different ways of doing business, running and managing the business, and growing that business to the next level.
Right.
Because like I say to my participants, everyone is against you. Everyone.
Right.
The banks are against you. They're not lending you. They're not providing you any funding. Government regulations are against small business, because the regulations are designed to keep us down, so we can't really grow. They're cutting our funding all over the place.
Right.
CDBG funding, SBA funding, all of those types of things they're cutting. The customers don't want to deal with us because we're small. They're going, we don't know you. We never heard about you before. We're going to deal with a big company. We're going to deal with Google or somebody else.
Right, exactly.
We're not going to deal with Small Biz Pro because we never heard of that before.
Right, exactly.
You see what I mean? And then your competitors are trying to step on you, trying to say, hey, those guys are not reputable. Why go to them? Come to us. So everywhere we go, people are trying to keep us down. So we're going to have to be creative and find a way to generate
and
that
in
money.
an industry that they need what you have, because that way they can't turn you down. Because when we really think about today's business world, especially with the advent of the internet, who knew that Facebook was going to be a valuable
That's what I'm talking
Who knew
about.
that LinkedIn was going to be valuable to the business owner? Anything that any business, Google, any of that, all of those are disruptors.
Exactly.
And
just like we're trying to do.
Just right. And so even when they went to, and that's why they went to investors versus banks, because even then the banks would have turned them down. And look what, now they benefit from the fact that they're IPOs and they've gone public, and now they're benefiting from that. And look at the cash, the monies that's being generated. But if any of those had gone to a bank to ask for a startup loan, this is an unproven territory.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're not going to loan money to you.
And that is why we're going to have to do what we do. And we got to persevere. We got to be persistent, because Uber, Mark from the Mavericks. What's his name? Mark Cuban. Okay. Mark Cuban had an opportunity to invest in Uber. And he said, no, doesn't look like it's going to work. I'll wait. And now he's kicking himself because millions of dollars he could have made. You see what I'm saying? So now he's saying, I would never do that again. And next time I see another opportunity comes around, I'm going to investigate it properly.
Right.
You see what I mean?
And think outside of the box.
Yes.
So that's really where we have to get our business owners outside of the box.
That's
thinking.
what I'm saying. With this system.
And then I had another one. I spoke to another guy yesterday. There was 2 of them. So talking about doing workshops from accounting, not just from the basics, but he's in the manufacturing industry. And so he used to be an accountant. And so Bill and he's one of the first Black food processing person that has been in a supermarket. And I want to introduce him to, what's the 2 ladies?
Vanessa and Nora.
Right. Because he was saying, well, because I was telling him about him, he's like, they probably got money. No, it took them 4 years to actually. A while. So I said, so you need to meet them and do and we have to talk about doing some collaboration together and creating like manufacturing coalitions, right, to get our businesses. But one of the things we talked about was, I said, we can do some workshops on, he wants to do some workshops on how to get into big box stores. Because he's in there and he's got a deal now. He's working on getting into the Safeway stores in Northern California.
I think that would be a good workshop series.
Yeah, and then I told him on the backside of that, then we do cost accounting.
Oh, wow.
Right?
I don't hear of anyone doing that. I don't hear of anyone doing that, Crystal.
I know.
That would be an untapped market for you. You see what I mean?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that.
That's beautiful.
And then the other one, this all took place yesterday when I was at this. It's really good to do some very specific networking is really a good thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so this other guy I spoke to, he does business plan writing. Hey, Rhonda, how are you? He does business plan writing, but he's being pushed out. So he got to talking about equity funding, crowdfunding in the Job Act, the same thing that Joseph Collins just did. So we got to see how and I told him we should do some workshops on that because those are alternative ways of getting, but again, you still got to have your stuff together because you got to go do diligence on that one, right? So that's an area because what he was talking, so we're going to have a meeting with him and see how we can, and that's taking our businesses $500,000, $250,000 and up and moving them up to that next level.
I love that. We're at the bottom of the hour right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right now. We're going to bring on our special guest in the studio. And Crystal, we're going to talk some more about how small businesses can elevate themselves and incorporate that with our guests.
So sounds fantastic to me.
You're on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, the small business paramedic.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
Welcome back to the Business Zone. This is
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today we got a wonderful guest here on the radio. And Crystal, do you want to do us the honors?
I certainly do. So our guest this month, today's show is all about writers and books and publishing and it being a business. So I know a couple of you on Facebook Live, you actually have just written your book. So it's more than just writing the book.
That's right.
There's a business component of it. And so I was very honored when Dr. Maxine Thompson was referred to me by Miss Barbara Lindsay, because Barbara Lindsay knows everybody. So if you guys don't know Barbara Lindsay, you need to know who Barbara Lindsay is.
That's right.
So she was able to get us a guest today, and Dr. Thompson is a novelist. She is an ebook publisher. She's a poet. She's a columnist. She's a short story writer. She's a book reviewer, an editor, ghostwriter, and she has her own internet radio show, and she's a literary agent. She is the author of 5 novels, including LA Blues series, an author of 3 novelettes, 1 story collection, 5 non-fiction books, and a contributor to 5 anthologies. Sorry about that.
Anthologies.
Huh?
Anthologies,
and she'll tell us what that is. Her latest offering is affirmations and essays for melanoid people, which is us, right? Black people. And Dr. Thompson, a retired social worker with 23 years of experience, became an editor in 1988. Since that time, she has edited and ghostwritten over 1,000 books, many which have made the bestsellers list, including the New York Times bestseller list. In 2003, her literary agency grew out of her God-given calling. She represents national bestseller authors Michelle McGriff, PhD, and Sheila Gross, who both have respectively received 15 and 11 contracts in over a 3-year period. Well, we are very pleased to have you. So honored. Wow, 1,000 books. That's a whole lot of written words.
That's over almost 20 years, though.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, Dr. Thompson.
Yes,
so welcome to the show. We're very pleased to have you.
Thank you for having me. And hello to everyone out there on Facebook. It's just wonderful with this internet, because I started self-publishing in 1995, where you had to be on the corner. I made my first book from papers that I had all over my living room floor. Then I had them put together at a phone book company. So it's so much easier now. It's so cheap. It's cheaper. Printers used to charge $8,000 to do about 1,000 books. Now you can do print on demand. You can get covers cheap. And see, we didn't know. Dr. Milligan, who's the founder of Black Writers on Tour, which I'm here to talk about, she has launched so many businesses for Black people, because we weren't told you can make a living from writing that back cover. Somebody has to write the back cover.
That's true.
Someone has to edit the book. Someone needs to ghostwrite. When I became an agent, she said, no, this isn't the same as an agent for Hollywood. No, for books, you don't have to have that type of license.
Wow.
We need someone in our community.
Exactly.
We never.
Exactly.
The same way the Jews took over Hollywood 100 years ago. We never knew that we could have our own industry. And we were doing quite well in the early 90s with our self-published books. Then they started picking these books up. And a lot of people, after they got a book deal, they threw their hands up. I'm sorry. They just said, that's it. I don't have New York But you can make a lot of money now.
We got to disrupt the market.
Right.
That's exactly what
like
you do.
Uber did.
That's right.
Wow, and
That's
you
right.
seem to have embraced a great deal of the marketplace, because usually when someone has written a book, that's all they do, right?
Yeah.
They've written their book.
Yeah.
They may get to sell it. Most of the time, it sits on a shelf as collection. It collects dust.
Yeah.
And every now and then, when they want to go out, it also, in addition to what the other professions that can come out of it, it is also a great lead for a professional speaking career,
Right.
because you have a product now,
Yes.
and then you can sell that product as you go out to speak, or even an introduction to you to get you to be offered speaking engagements. So how did you, all of the writer, I get the writing part, but the reviewing, the editing, the ghostwriting, and then eventually literary agent. So what was your and this is over a 20-year period?
Right. I left my job in October 97, and I started going to Black Writers on Tour before I left my job. I can't remember which one. Maybe there was a break because this is the 21st year, but it seemed like that was 1996, the first Black Writers on Tour. Mm-hmm. And then I went to Dr. Milligan to have her act as a mentor for me. And I mean, it really has worked out well. Mm-hmm. She still mentors me, and I end up going in a different direction. I was planning to be a book publisher, but I ended up becoming an agent, and I started doing an internet radio show in 2002 on Voice America, and then but it came from me writing book reviews on Net Noir. Does anyone remember Net Noir?
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, it was part of.
That's great.
Yeah, I had my own website where I would interview authors. It's from about 1998. So we have to create our opportunities.
Yeah, definitely we have to, because like I say, no one is providing us those opportunities. They're not providing us access to those opportunities. So we got to create them. We got to go out there and get them.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So what was your first book?
The Ebony Tree, and I self-published it in 1995, and Dr. Milligan reissued it in 1999, I believe, under her company.
Did it sell more then when she reissued it?
Yes, because at that time we had a lot of black bookstores, and she had a book with all the black resources, and so we could get our books in a lot of stores. We would go to the Book Expo in Chicago and New York.
Yeah.
We went to a lot of things. We would go all over the country. Now you don't really have to do that.
No.
You just get on your computer. I think there's some disadvantages with not having that face-to-face.
Yeah.
That's why we're having Black Writers on Tour, where you can meet the actual people you know online. I know people. I was an agent for people that I never met. I met one girl out, Sheila Goss, in New Orleans when I went to do a workshop. Now, I'm not a speaker, but I do workshops. I teach a lot of writing classes.
Yes.
And I've gone to New York, and I've gone to Chicago, to China. That was my biggest trip. I still want to get to Africa. That's
Wow.
Well, it's on the
your
list.
bucket list.
It's
on your bucket list. You're still around. So let me ask this question. What's the self-publishing versus, I guess, a publishing house publishing? What are the differences? And for a new writer like myself or Gilbert over here, what would be the advantages to either or?
Well, they call it indie publishing now. They don't even really call it self-publishing.
Okay.
And the indie publishers.
So indie means what? Independent?
Independent.
Okay.
And now that the whites are doing it, I hate to say a lot of them are hitting the New York Times bestseller as independently published authors. And the statistics are almost 50% of the books being published worldwide are independently published. Even that one, what was the one where they made the movie? The
one that the book. I'm an avid reader, especially not as much now as I used to be. It used to be I'd have 4 or 5 books going on at one time. So, I know how books are supposed to be written.
Right.
And I think I read the first chapter and I went, oh my God. I mean, grammatically it was off. The editing was horrible. Going, why did this book sell? I mean, it was obviously the content. It was the content. Too. But it was, and she wrote,
awful, huh?
It was awful. It was like, it was like a super suburban person writing a book, and it was like, golly gee, and it was all, and it was an erotic novel, and about I guess dominatrix, right? Or in this case, it was him, but it was like, golly gee, super gee whiz. I'm like, okay, I can't read this, so I never could read the book. They kept saying, well, you got to get past the first 6 chapters. No, I can't get past the first. I couldn't even get past the first 3 pages.
Right. Their books aren't like ours. That's number one. Our books pick up the pacing and have to have action right away. We're not people that want to sit and get all the backdrop and the backstory.
Build up.
Yeah, we start, and that's why street fiction was selling real well, and it's still selling. Kensington just turned down a book I had from a doctor, but they want some street fiction, and this lets me know street fiction is still selling.
Still alive.
It's a lot of suspense. I hate to say, for us, because we do live in so much chaos, so much trauma, so much pain, the street fiction is what a lot of young people could relate to, and that's why they start reading. They really love to read street fiction.
Now, do you do any workshops locally?
Yes, I've done them at the library. Every year at Black Writers on Tour since 2000, I've done a writer's workshop. By then, I was a little more experienced. I started doing it, and Dr. Milligan just encouraged all the writers, like Protecting Your Rights, Trademark and Patent Right, Monica Williams, J.D. I edited a couple of her books, and now she has her own publishing company, and she's an attorney, and so she does a thing on trademark and patent rights for books. It's so much we need to learn as writers. And then I see where, Crystal, you're going to be on the workshop on how to successfully operate your business, record keeping for tax and compliance.
What date is that?
That's tomorrow.
This is tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
So the Black Writers are on tour. Dr. Milligan has been doing it, 21 years now?
Yes, 21 years.
So it's held out at the Carson Convention Center, and it's in addition to being the Black Writers on tour, it's the Southern California Black Business Expo, and it's designed to connect writers with readers and consumers with Black businesses. And there will be workshops and seminars for writers, aspiring writers, business owners, aspiring entrepreneurs, and for the general public. And there will be book signings throughout the day. So I think there's a component of it. It's free to the public, and then some of the more the workshops that you're going to be learning skills to enhance your craft. There's fees for that. So I'm in one of those with L.C. Green. He's doing it on a tax component, and then I'm speaking on that writing is a business. Last year I spoke there, and I really just talked about the basics of an accounting system. So I'm gonna, she wants that, but I think it's a little bit more than that. I think people have to understand that it's not just about writing a book, right?
Right.
Because you got to market the book afterwards. You have to have the book edited. You have to have it, the copywriting, and all of the components.
Several levels of editing and proofreading, because you want your book to look as good as any New York book. And actually, because the books are becoming more professional looking, you can't tell a self-published or independently published book from a New York book.
Wow.
And if you use the social media, internet radio, podcasts, you can really sell a lot of books. Twitter, you get a following on Twitter, you get your numbers up on there and Facebook.
Well, we certainly want to learn that, because Crystal and I, we're planning on
we've been talking about book, and then we've been talking about using this platform to start, you don't have to be big books, but maybe ebooks, and then work our way. But that'd be great for both of us from a product base. So one of the questions I've always had is, as a writer, because and I think I was speaking to you about this before Gilbert got here, is Gilbert and I have a lot of knowledge over the years and a lot of experience about all the things that we do, and our businesses have both evolved to different levels. How do you narrow it down to one concept or one idea?
Education books are the new books that really people want to learn how to do things. I'm working on trying to get my writing things into modules so I can have that online where I don't have to go everywhere to teach. I can, and then they can just buy the part that they want. Different segments of writing. There's fiction, nonfiction. I can write both now. I can explain how you do that. But what you do, you just narrow it down and focus. An ebook can be 30 pages. How to start a business on a shoestring. Ebooks are the best thing to happen. My nieces that are young, she's 23, and her aunt, who's about 45 now, they're avid readers. They read on their phones. I don't know how they do that.
Right.
So, and it has knocked the sales of the print book down, but I think print book is coming back. I always believe, print is going to come back around, but it has lowered, because the writers I represent, I noticed their sales went down when the ebooks became popular. And we see how Sears, it's knocking a lot of people out of business.
Yeah, it's just disruption.
Because see, when you mention ebooks with 30 pages, my presentation is usually about 30
pages.
You got your book.
So that's the book right there.
Right, it is.
Wow.
And you can find a theme. Like I use the Hush Hush Secrets of Writing Fiction That Sells, and I've got about 4 other books under the Hush Hush Secrets.
Yeah.
Because people want to know. Use that word secret. Oh, what is the secret?
The secrets of certification.
Exactly.
Right. Or conversations with Gilbert, or conversations with Crystal.
That's true.
Yeah, things for business. People want to know how to do things. I was reading, I retweeted today about unusual businesses that people have. One lady, she was astrologist. And people are paying her. And one lady, she sews all the nice clothes that Beyonce and different people wear. Now she's selling classes. She didn't think nobody would buy it. People want to know how you make these clothes. People want to know how to do it so people will pay you to learn. So how to is still big. That's one of the biggest things. But now you can do it electronically. It's not just a book.
Exactly.
You can do it, have the modules, and people just download it. You don't, instead of doing the webinars, you don't even have to be there. You just have that book. And once you get it all uploaded, then people can just buy it and then go on to the next step. You don't have to have it. And then you can have your direct webinar where you're there with the Skype or Zoom. But it's best if you can get all the work off of you where you won't be all burnt out.
Oh, man.
So is it possible, because back, like I said earlier, I'm an avid reader, so Daniel Steele, John Grisham, and I'm one of those individuals. I'll go buy. And this is the other thing. It really, really ticked me off when they start eliminating bookstores. Because for me, I'm a tactile person. Yeah. So a book means that I can highlight. I can fold over some pages. I can go back to refer. So I find myself doing both. I will have them on my phone, under my Kindle, and under my Kindle app. I also have audio. So when I'm driving, my how-tos, I listen to those when I'm stuck in traffic. But I actually have the book, so I have it in 3 places. But I actually have to have the book in a paper form, so then I can do and mark up and use it for workshops and that kind of stuff. Because if you go on a Kindle, you can't go back to wherever you happen to read that line. But in my book, I would have highlighted and made my little sticky notes. So, is it still possible? Because those are very wealthy authors. Is it still possible to do that in today's, with the electronics and so forth, the digital?
Yes, a lot of people, they're only in electronics. The guy who did Wool, there's a lot of people who got real big with just an ebook. And when they did get book deals from New York, they kept their electronic rights. And some of the early book deals I got did not have the electronic rights. And then they just started putting them up. Wait a minute. And then they started sneaking in the contract. No, you did not ask for this in the first place.
See, that's good to know, though.
Books are good,
because, see, we weren't even
e-books.
thinking that way, but that's good to know.
Right.
And audiobooks are real big, too, because people are busy. We have people who can't read and blind. And, so audiobooks, I just started putting some of my books in that. You try to have your book in as many places as possible. There's a site called Draft to Digital, and they will format your book and put it on about 8 stores. I think Apple, all over, Kobo.
Okay. Wow. Now let me ask this question: do you do the when you're doing audio? Are you the author? You hire someone to do that as well, right?
And you don't have to pay. You go to Amazon and the Audible books, there's I think audible.x or something. You can go there and you have writers bid. I mean, speakers or people who like to read books.
They
have them bid to do your book, and then you go 50%. Well, actually, it's 25 and 25. They went down. At first, you made more money. Now it's less. Amazon is going to get paid. Yeah. They even took over. They used to just have Create Space. Now, under Kindle, you can also do your print-on-demand book. So they took that from draft to digital. It's like they're a monopoly. They just about have monopolized. I think they have like 80% of all the ebook sales all over the world.
And so on demand means that you don't have books published in bulk, right?
Right.
So when a person buys, then that's when they go to print. Is that how it works?
Right. And the biggest distributor is Lightning Source, and also they have a smaller company that they use now, Ingram Spark, and you can have your book set up there.
Wow.
And you can order 25, one to as many as you need.
See, this is great education for me.
I know, because I've never, I've wanted to write a book, and as I was telling Dr. Thompson, there's just so many things in my head. It's like, how do you put these things into words and put them in a book?
Outline. You get an outline, and you ask a question, because people are looking for solutions. Yeah. How can I lose weight, or how can I get my diabetes under control? And then, under each section you answer the question, and from these outlines you develop chapters, and you have your questions, and then you have your steps at the end of each chapter. This is for nonfiction. This is just a general.
Right.
But you have steps, action, things that the person can do, and solutions, because that's what people are looking for, solutions.
So, how frequently do you hold workshops? Because I now want to be a part of this.
I'm doing one tomorrow, how to write a best-selling novel.
You always said, I got some books, man.
I got some books I had to write.
Yeah, you do, and you do need, because of all the training that he does.
Exactly.
He does a more variety even than I do, and he has a whole series of books that he could actually generate. Yeah. Me, I got, they're there. I have my activism, I have my philanthropy, and then accounting, and then the same thing on my coaching.
I'm still waiting for that book from you on accounting and bookkeeping. I'm still waiting for that.
And this has been my issue, and I mentioned it to her, is I'm one of those individuals, I don't want to regurgitate what's already out there.
Right.
So I'm looking for a unique angle to it that would not just be, because when I go looking for a book, and so I'm actually probably looking at me as the consumer. Yeah. So let's say this book thing has really have been a thing on the floor more. And in fact, that was on my resolution list in January. Yeah. And I said, okay, I need to know how to write an outline. So I went and found an outline in this 90-minute book outline. So I'm working through that process, but it's online. So I got to get the book. I got to actually get the physical book. Yeah. But I want to read something that's different. Than what everybody else is, because you can have one book on one subject and there's 95 people that have written that same book
and saying the same thing,
and they're saying the exact same thing, right? And because I'm a reader, I don't want to read a book that's so just glossy. I mean, you'll get a book and then you'll go, I just read this book. I just read this 20 books back, and I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm trying to do, is not just be that generic. Right. Accounting is important. I need to have something a little bit more to that, and that was some of the reasons.
Different, specific.
Right. Yeah. So that kind of stuff. Yeah. And your stuff is so unique in the sense that not everybody's writing about certification. I think I've actually gone out. What's the young lady? What's the book that she just wrote? Our friend, what's her name? She wrote a book. She's up in the Bay Area.
Oh, Anita, is it?
Vanita. Right. So her book is different.
Yes.
And then I've read some other books for certifications. But it generally, they've taken the same stuff that's in the SBA guide and plugged it into a book. Yeah. But I guess I'm a little bit more of a perfectionist.
We want it to be, a certain way.
A quality book, something that you really benefit from.
It's giving it your own spin. Like when I wrote my writing book, The Hush Hush Secrets of Writing Fiction That Sells, I said, everything I learned about writing, I learned as a social worker.
Yeah,
I had over 20-some years of writing experience. And,
doing those case notes and all of that. Right?
Mandatory, right?
And the theory, and it's my business model. If you don't write it down, it didn't happen.
That's true.
We as a people didn't happen. If we don't write our stories down, we got to stop saying, but the white man won't let us, and he telling it that ain't the way it happened.
That's
why
we
got
power.
The pen.
Yeah.
We got the internet. They messed up when they let us on the internet. I heard that. Right. It opened. I ended up in Black Enterprise after I went on, after I got on the internet. And that's how I ended up with my radio show. So these things happen from being on the internet, given the chance. I used to send books and manuscripts to New York, and I had won 1,000 in Ebony's first writing contest in 1989.
Wow.
So I just thought, they're going to roll the red carpet. No, there's no red carpet for us. We have to create the red carpet. We have to draw the door, like the cart, where the mouse run through the door. Then he had to draw the door. We have to make our own windows.
It's a black carpet.
Right. And it's fine. And that's what I admire about Dr. Milligan's Black Writers on Tour. She does this every year, and she's done it without having white sponsors. That's why she can say what she wants. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of, like, Dr. Boyce. He's very
and I wish I could say Dr. Boyce Watkins, he is like a financial business guru, but he really talks the truth about our community and what we need to do. And he has a YouTube channel, and he does Facebook Live all the time. He does YouTube Live. So he is really the man of the hour right now.
He's going all over teaching people how, he says that in 100 years we could be in a whole different, he said if we work so many million hours a week for white America building their companies, if we took that and build our own companies and have our own Black Wall Street, which could be maybe 4 or 5 business people that you work with, and you can borrow money from each other until we can build and get to the next level.
I hear that.
So we have to start somewhere.
Well, with that being said, we're at the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and take a quick break again. And this is beautiful. We're enjoying this, Crystal. This is an education for us.
It is. And I know it's been back there, but mine was probably closer than yours. Yeah. But
this is going to be great. So let's go ahead and take a break. You're on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, the small business paramedic, and we've got a great guest on the show today, Dr. Maxine Thompson, and she's giving us a great education here today on the book writing, book promotion, book marketing, publishing, copywriting, and all of that great stuff, and doing it electronically and otherwise. So, Dr. Thompson.
you have just enlightened us, and I think you lit a light bulb over here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have it written down, it didn't happen.
That's what I'm talking
You don't want to
about.
die, and they find all these manuscripts under your bed.
Oh, man.
Just go on and do it, and then you won't have regrets. They say people lay on their deathbed, and they don't regret what they did. They regret what they didn't do.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do
it's
it. Just
important.
do it.
So that's been on my, the show was one of the list, the bucket list last year,
Yeah.
and so this year is the professional speaking. And one of the things that Barbara Lindsay had told me was that you really need a product, and that
Yes.
product is a book.
Yes.
So that when you leave, and even for our workshops, I mean,
Yes.
just imagine if you had your ebook.
Yes.
And that they purchased that book, or your even a little small book to go along with the manual to go along with your workshops.
That's what I'm
then we
talking
can
about.
spend. They're spending more money,
Yes.
and I
Right.
think it's an excellent concept and an idea. So I am very pleased. And so let me ask this question: as a literary agent, what is your role in helping that writer or author get their book? What do you do?
Well, I've seen the industry shift now, but at my most active point, it was like every day. Sometimes I would get 8 book deals. But I started out, I didn't get any. But
Okay.
I was persistent. I heard what Gilbert said about being like a pit bull. I just kept going. Then one day I looked up, I said, I'm through with this. And then I got 8 book deals in a week. And I just saw it, and then it just started snowballing like that, and people started getting in touch with me because of my radio show, and also because of the ghostwriting and content editing I was doing, which I work with the story. I'm a developmental editor where I help you develop your fiction story. So I started getting more and more but it's like being a real estate agent. You know how they negotiate. The book is your your property,
right?
Intellectual property.
Yeah.
So think of a house, but this is your house
On paper.
On paper. And so I would pitch it to a publishing house. It was 5 big publishing houses at the time, and they still have them. But they're constantly combining. It's Random House, St. Martin's Press. A lot of them are combined now. In Kensington, it's combined with Random House now. I think it's part of the Penguin Group. And so I would pitch it to an editor, and you have to develop relationships with the editors at the big houses. And with me being in California, most of the people who make the best relationships are there in New York. They can go to lunch with them, but with the power of the internet, I made relationships, and I met the people when we went to the Book Expo of America, which was in New York and Chicago, and it's been in L.A., so I've been at 3 different places, so I met people that way. But that has been the part of my business that just kind of was serendipity. I wasn't trying to do it, and it just happened. But it was really the editing has been my mainstay because I'm a good editor, and that made it good for me as an agent. I could tell a good book, and I could help fix it if it wasn't good.
That's great. That's great.
That's
now, let
good.
me ask you this. If someone, an author, any author, comes along and say, hey, I've got some material here, want to do a book, and it's ready to go. You blessed it, edited it, and everything, and you said, okay, now let's go. What would be the next step? Would it be to get it published first and then take it to Amazon, or how do you do it?
I almost recommend that you go on and self-publish, and then if you build an audience, they come to you, then you're in control, and you can tell them. A lot of people where they've done that and the publishers came to them, they were the light. I've heard Dave Banner say, you are the light, and that's what his God box is about. Yeah. So it's the same for us as writers. They will come to you.
Yes.
So I recommend, because of the way the market is now, only Michelle Obama and former President Obama they're getting $60 million for their book.
Oh yes,
that doesn't happen all the time. So,
they're a celebrity and they already have a
big platform.
Right,
exactly. He already had books that were selling. After he became president, he made, I was looking at his tax statements, which we can still see his tax statements, but we can't see our current.
That's because number 45 is under audit.
Do we have a call?
Yeah, we have a caller. Our next guest is coming. So number 5, his is secretly in the audit's place.
Okay.
Okay, so our next guest is here?
Our call, is she calling in? Okay, hello, okay. Casey?
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, that's wonderful. You're speaking to Crystal Mitchell, and my co-host is Gilbert Buchanan, and we're so happy to have you on the show.
Hello, Casey.
Hello there. How are you today?
We're doing very fine. We've got a wonderful guest in our studios here, Dr. Maxine Thompson. We're talking about. Do you know her?
No, I don't, but just saying hi to her.
Ah, okay.
Hi, how are you?
So you're here for the Black Writers on Tour conference as well, right?
Exactly.
So you will meet her tomorrow.
Yes, we'll meet tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me introduce Casey to all of us and to our listening audience. Casey is pretty unique. She's an African American woman who's blazed some trails. She broke some color lines. So she's one of the literary hidden figures, I guess, or the airlines hidden figures. Yeah. So Casey, she was one of the first African American stewardess, or now we call flight attendants, for Delta Airlines. And Patricia Murphy, a Chicago native, was the first one hired in 1966. Grant worked alongside other pioneers for almost 35 years, and she's an author, and she has written the book Stars in the Sky, which gives an insight into the daily encounters of racism as one of the first African American stewardess being denied access to the cockpit because her kind was not allowed. Thrilling stories of hijacking and the well-orchestrated evacuations, the murder of 2 of her co-workers, and an irate passenger attack on Grant during a flight. So, Miss Grant, I was talking to Barbara Lindsay, and I am so happy she referred you to us as a guest today. But we were talking that back in the 60s and even in the 70s when I was in college and 80s, there were so many of my friends that wanted to be in the airline industry, and they didn't care about any other part of the industry but being a flight attendant. Yeah. And it was like the glamour job for women, the glamour job of all glamour jobs. So is that true?
Oh, it's absolutely the truth. And that's why the book is called Stars in the Sky, because we were on the same level with the models and the movie stars, and we were those stars in the sky. So yes, it was fabulous. Absolutely a fabulous opportunity.
So, but there were a lot, and one of the things I remember specifically, there were a lot of criterias for you to even be selected. So, what were the criterias? And then let us know what your experiences and a little highlight of your book so that we can get people to go out and buy Stars in the Sky.
Well, back then you had to be a certain height. I think you couldn't be any shorter than 5'1". You had to weigh
5'1".
5'1". And that was the shortest that they took you. And then your weight had to be, in accordance with your height. I was supposed to weigh 120. I was 5'4", and that was the most that I could weigh. Yeah. Now, I was blessed to be able to, I weighed 120. I gained a quarter of a pound when I was in training. And after I had taken all my tests and I was ready to go, my supervisor needed to weigh me to make sure that I had lost that quarter of a pound. And God, and I tell you, it was a blessing because I still couldn't get rid of a quarter of a pound. Man. Yeah, and so because her forgetting and becoming distracted, she didn't weigh me. But we had to wear girdles for our foundation. You had to wear gloves. You had to wear hats. So it was way back in those days of all those different types of things. But if you gained weight and could not lose it within a reasonable time, then you would lose your job.
Wow.
So they weighed you all the time?
They weighed you I think it was every 3 months.
Wow.
Wow.
That is something else.
So when did that change?
Well, it changed in the 80s. A lot of the girls got together because I was always on weight check, and which means they were checking your weight. You had to go in. If you hadn't lost it in a couple of days, then you went on suspension, which meant you lost money. So it changed in the 80s. Because all the airlines were doing the same thing. And so the girls got together, took it to court, and won the settlement. And then they increased it because at that point you could weigh maybe about 10 pounds more, because that was an old scale that they were trying to project what we should be during those days. So then we got a few more pounds, and then, still dealing with court dealings and stuff. And so they had to finally say the appearance. You had to appear a certain way in your uniform. And that's what they have now, is that you just have to be presentable in your uniform. They can't tell you that you weigh too much anymore. So there's all those discriminations that we were fighting.
Now, age also. Wasn't there an age limit or criteria for how old you could be?
Well, you had to be 21 because we were selling liquor.
Okay.
So you had to be able, by law, to be able to sell the liquor. Nowadays, it's the same thing, but you can fly as long. We had a flight attendant that she was in her 80s before she finally decided she was ready to retire.
80s?
So they can't be in the 80s. So they can't discriminate in age or weight.
Okay. Okay.
As long as you can perform, and it is testing that we have to go through. If you pass your test, your performance test, then you can fly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. Fantastic.
So what was the first firm you decided to work with in that line of work?
Well, my father was in the Air Force, so travel was in my body, in my soul, in my spirit. I knew I wanted to travel. I was going to join the service. A girlfriend joined ahead of me and told me don't join because it was hard. And my supervisor, I worked at the University of Illinois, she had a friend who had just gotten a promotion, a job with the airlines, and said, you should be a stewardess. Well, that sounded good, but they weren't really hiring blacks. Mm-hmm. But I was blessed that because of him, he helped me to get in. The push was on to hire blacks, and so I had the opportunity to be hired in 71. And as you said, Patricia Grace Murphy was the very first one that Delta Airlines hired, and that was in 1966. And that was because they were being forced to hire blacks. Because, we were all fighting. Affirmative action was there. Women were fighting for equal rights. So it was just a turbulent time.
Mm-mm-mm. That is amazing.
Now, when you, and I'm going to flash forward over to 2017, but when I had a girlfriend that retired from the airlines, she with Continental, but she worked in the human. She's a HR director, so I heard a lot about the airlines over the years through her, and I fly as her companion, so I kind of get it from I see the backside when we're flying. For years, I was her companion, but and there was a certain type of customer service that was offered then, right? You guys were well trained in interacting, personal interaction with your customers, which were the passengers, right?
Exactly, and that's what the 6 weeks of training is all about. Delta's philosophy when I started flying was that we were to treat passengers as if they were a guest in our house, and that's the type of training, along with the proper way to serve things, the proper wine, the proper food, the proper utensils, all these different things. So it was customer service. But customer service was a big thing back days ago, before, automation. You call up and you talk to a machine. I mean, you talk to a real person that was there to satisfy you. So customer service has done a big change since 71. And some of the incidences that are happening now, it's because I don't think people have shown as much loyalty to companies like they used to.
Okay.
People are, they're contract work, And they don't really care. They know they're never going to retire. They know they're never going to get benefits. They don't really care if the company survives or not. So I just think customer service has really has taken a bad turn. I just don't think we are into as much customer service as we used to be.
Yeah, because that was pretty evident on the United Airlines flight last week. And even, I believe, yesterday, there was another incident. I don't remember what flight. I think that was that Delta, where the young woman with the, although that didn't make sense with the carriage, because usually they will tell you to take it off.
Oh, I think that was American.
That was American?
Yeah, but
yesterday was Delta, right?
Yesterday they had one with Delta where I guess the male passenger wanted to use the restroom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they didn't think that he should use it before, because they were getting ready to take off.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it was a big thing. But I do know that United Airlines I think they're going to now offer up to $10,000 compensation when they ask you to deboard.
Really?
And they're going to no more overbooking, because that creates a hassle for everybody, not just the customer. And then that's what my girlfriend was telling me. She said that's a real hassle from the gates to the HR from the whole, every level in the airline industry is affected by that overbooking.
Yeah, that's organizational distrust, or how do you say this? It's not structured properly the way it ought to be done. So that's on the organization. You see what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So, operations.
Exactly.
Yeah. It comes down to the operations. Yeah. And I think it was something else they said, that they no more overbooking, and they would not bring any local authorities to help mitigate the issue. And they were going to work on their customer service issues with their staff.
Okay.
Let's see how long that happens for.
Well, but we all need to be retrained, and because we all become complacent in jobs, and everyone has troubles and problems of their own, and when people get a little authority, like the people, I think that everyone in the whole world got to see how they handled the situation, and it was just not handled properly. Yeah. And so, yes, do they need more training? Yes. Do they need maybe even some anger management training? Yes. So it's bad. And it's bad for the company. And it's like anything else. You can go into a place and you can get bad service and you say you'll never go back. But it's that one person. It's not the company. Yeah. It's not the business. It's one person. Yeah. So... Yeah,
and you cannot get away from not flying anywhere.
Exactly. So hopefully people will come back to all the airlines, and they will not let these terrible incidences, change their mind and never say they'll never fly United, Delta, American, TW. Well, we can't do TWA, but all the airlines and come back, because that's the same. It's the people, the individuals. Mishandled.
See, the thing about it is the representatives on the plane, they are an ambassador to the airline. So they're representing that airline. And I'm not trained to be a flight attendant or a pilot or whatever, but looking at that incident, to me, it didn't look right. It just did not look right. No. And from an organizational development standpoint, I'm looking at that, and immediately I saw that was a breakdown in the system. How can you overbook? How can you overbook? With all these technology and all of this that you have right now, how can you overbook?
Yeah.
Well, there's a formula for that. And the thing is, the airlines do a lot of things. I can't state anything, but that's been a practice, and it works out. The formula has worked. And usually it doesn't get out of hand. So if there's a situation, because what happens, it's not even just that particular flight may be overbooked. It could be a carryover from somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
A flight may have canceled. So so those situations are going to come up, but you just have to handle them in a more humane manner and professional, and that's the key to the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's professional. It's the customer service. So whatever they were doing when you were a flight attendant, they need to go back to that method.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. As I said, it's about, we took pride. That's why the book is called Stars in the Sky, as I said before, because we were on the level with the models and the movie stars and everything else. And when you saw a stewardess, it was about being graceful and gracious and well-posed and dressed well in manners and knew all these different things. You could communicate with anybody because that's what we had to do. So you had that training at the training that women used to go through, charm and class and etiquette and all that type of stuff. And so you were the epitome of that. And customer service was what you were there for. And the safety of the passengers. Remember, I always have to throw in, flight attendants are there for your safety, not just customer service to serve you, but there's safety features.
Yeah. Now, Casey, tell me about at least 2 or 3 key takeaways from this book that you've written that, if nothing else, you would like the audience to remember and think about of your book.
And go and buy your book.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. Well, yes, we'll start with the sky. The inspiration for me to write the book is because I do believe that I'm fighting for, I want black stewardesses / flight attendants to be able to claim their spot in aviation history. We were denied that opportunity to become one. You know the TWA, you know Pan Am, you know the white girl story, but you don't know the black girl story. So my book is here to tell you that the things that we had to encounter. We were called the N-word to our face by the crew members who didn't want us to be in first class, didn't want us to serve them, didn't want us on the airplane.
Wow.
We were denied hotel rooms because they didn't want blacks in the hotel, even though we were a crew member.
Did you have a little insect poisoning back then? I mean, I'm sorry.
Did what?
He said when you were standing in the hotel. Where were you supposed to stay?
I was thinking when you're in first class and these guys did not want you there. I'm just wondering, did you have a little insect poisoning then? You could just put in their food, but no.
Well, you know what? Those are those things that you don't tell, but here I can tell you a bunch of things because it's just like they always say: don't send your food back and don't upset the cook.
Exactly.
You're in a restaurant. Because you never know. Okay, then, well, you can believe things like that go on.
Exactly.
I can imagine.
Exactly. You don't treat me mean and think I'm not supposed to retaliate. that ain't right. So anyway, those are the different things, and some of the things that I do want is I think that we need to. I don't know why the aviation field is so overlooked, because you can become a doctor, a lawyer, you can become a nurse. You can become a stewardess, a captain, a flight attendant, a captain. You can be work in the air traffic control. There's so many wonderful fields that pays well and gives you the privilege of flying all over the world free. And we do not. So I try to push that when I'm talking to the young kids in school. Seek out aviation, STEM, science, technology, math, electronics. That's a wonderful field for you to excel in, and we need to stress it. So those are the type of things, but I really want people to understand we went through a lot to get this job, stories that you've never heard and you did not know.
That's good.
I started reading it last night. I pulled it the sample down from Kindle, and I'll be purchasing the book because I was interested, but it wasn't just you. It was your father. It was everybody. The Air Force. I mean, he was in the Air Force as well, right? Or I think that's what I read. He in the military, but he was on an all black a base that was all black, right?
Yes.
And okay. And a pilot? Was he a pilot or?
No. He wasn't a pilot, but he encountered racism too. He had to stand up, and because he wanted the best for his family. And he did, and my father, he gave us that opportunity to travel. I started school in England. I've lived in Africa. As a matter of fact, you read that in the book. Gaddafi was in the mountains, and he was a renegade, so we were exposed to him way back when I was a child, and living in California, and then finally settling in Illinois. But traveling all over the world and meeting all types of people. And the thing for me as a child, it wasn't about you being black, white, green, or whatever. It was about you being an American citizen. And we were there in a foreign country, and we were Americans representing America, and we bonded. So my father dealt with the racism but as a child, he didn't see a lot of that racism.
So he protected you guys. Pretty much.
He did.
Yeah.
He protected us. And as I say in the book, you know, he was able to be promoted because his name was Eric Grant, and there weren't many blacks, so he wasn't automatically discarded because of his name, and they knew he was black. On one of his papers that I had, they had him down as white.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but I have to know that he's gone now, of course. But his papers, it says race, white. I don't know how that mistake happened, but Daddy was promoted in different fields and was able to accomplish probably more because of his name, being able to open up the door.
Well, don't feel bad about that, because I got a mortgage one time because they said I was white, so.
And actually,
they make those mistakes.
And it's so funny because I had read that in your book last night, and then this morning I was watching The View, and LL Cool J was on the View. No, on Kelly and on Kelly's show, and one of the things she said, her co-host, he called LL Cool J Todd. He said, "Yeah, that's my name." He says, "My mother gave me James Todd. It was a very white name, Todd James." He said it was a very white name because she wanted to make sure. And this is what your father said, right? He wanted to make sure that you would get a job on paper.
Exactly. And you know, and that's one of the things that I think we all, the older people, when the young kids start naming their kids, you know, Shante Bakabuka,
right?
Saying, well, how do you spell it? First of all, how do you pronounce it? And if you don't think that's going to label you before you even, you know,
right.
It's perception.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
We, you know, and we understand our, you know, appreciating and honoring our blackness, and that's true. We're never ever going, but you know, sometimes we need a chance.
Right. So you gotta have a name to give you a chance. And I had to stop and go, my name, Crystal Mitchell. I guess no one would really know that unless they spoke to me, or they, you know, and now you have the internet, you can pull me up. But other than that, yeah, the name is very, very Maxine Thompson. Nobody would know that. Yeah. So but the white part is so interesting. I'm doing my family on Ancestry.com, and every now and then I'll go have a conversation with my uncle, and he'll give me some more ancestors or some more relatives, and then I'll plug them to the Ancestry. So when you pull up the census, if you happen to be a very light person, the person that was taking the census. Yeah. So my family started out, they'd been white, they've been mulatto, they've been Negro, they've been black, they've been back to mulatto, they went to Indian. So not until the census in 1950 did they get black.
We've been everything. We have been everything. And we've done it with pride.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
We have done it with pride. Great, wonderful accomplishments, and I tell you, thank God for that.
So, Casey, as an author, what type of challenges did you come across when you try to publish your book or try to get it marketed?
Well, I'm blessed. So I did not have challenges. What I did, the challenges I had were not challenges to me. I raised the money through Kickstarter. So I had very supportive friends that helped me raise the money from that. I was blessed to be able to find an editor with a publishing company. So I can't remember who, but set me on, gave me the information for my publisher. My publisher turned me on to an editor. And so everything just kept, prayers, and then they just kept falling into spots and spaces with me. So my friends supported me. I was able to get that out, and it's done well ever since. I've done my own PR. So I've had TV, radio, newspaper articles all over. I'm happy to say that film producers are after me now to try to.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm being blessed with that, and so they're pursuing me. And I haven't signed on with anyone. I'm just kind of listening and just waiting to be blessed with the right one. And so that's all good. So it's been a wonderful journey. It's been a positive journey. And I have to say to writers, if I have to say anything, I am so happy that I did not read a lot of things about it's impossible, it's hard, this will never work. Because all the things that I read after I had written my book, those were the things that I did and didn't think I couldn't do. Had I read these things, I never would have had the confidence, because I just didn't know. Because self-publishing was hard in their point of view, but it wasn't for me.
So was your book well embraced by the airline? I'm sure you still have friends or people that are connected to the airline industry. Was it well embraced by them?
Oh, what was the last part? Was it what?
Well embraced by your colleagues in the industry?
Well, I think I understood what you said. First of all, what I did is a lot of people in the very beginning when I was writing the book, they didn't want me to say I worked for Delta. Well, I was very proud of Delta. Delta did not know a lot of the things that I wrote about when we were going through them because we handled it with grace and integrity. And Delta never knew. So I never said anything bad about Delta. Delta is a wonderful company, and when they did know, they were very supportive. So it was never Delta, it was the world. It was people getting on there. Delta can't control those people in the way they thought. So that was never an issue. And as far as the people being interviewed, it was difficult in the very beginning for people to give me stories because they really thought it was going to be a book. I don't know if you guys remember, like, the book Coffee, Tea, or Me. That was a lot of fluff.
Okay.
I don't want my book. This was not to be fluff. It's about history. At Tuskegee Airmen, the Top Gun competition was won by Tuskegee Airmen, and these young men were not recognized for that competition for almost 50 years. It's in my book.
Yes.
Who knew, it's aviation. You just don't know these things, and it's a part of history that I am trying to make people know and recognize it. If you see a black flight attendant, she needs to be applauded because they didn't want us to. They thought we would weaken the profession if they hired a black person, and that's been documented. It said that.
So, Casey, do you have any questions for Dr. Maxine Thompson, novelist, literary agent, editor, publisher?
Ghostwriter, poet, content material.
She's done so many wonderful things. I'd like to know what her challenges were because, what was she confronted with? Because as I said, I skipped along and didn't know. I was ignorant to a lot of stuff, and I was just blessed, but I'm sure she was more educated in what she was doing. So I'd like to know what type of challenges were you confronted with?
Oh, I got a lot of rejections from New York. And so it felt so good when I self-published the first two books, and then they started having black cruises. We went on a cruise, the Black Book Club, and we went to where did we go? We went to Cancun and different places, and all these readers were reading my book and giving back feedback. So just instead of waiting for somebody to discover me, discovering myself. That was the most exciting thing, to find that readers connected to stories about black families, and that they, I was always interested in families because I was a social worker and I worked with families, and so they said, oh, this reminded me of when I had my first menstrual cycle, and just it was just so many things. And we have stories that that are unique to us. We are the descendants of slaves, most of us that are African Americans, and we have a different slant. We have a unique history, and any book we write should reflect our Afrocentric worldview, that people count rather than things. I mean, we have a very different. We're not as materialistic as America, so we need to write. Even our business books have to show that we're also about people and building our communities.
Right.
I think that's important, and I think at this point where we are, especially when we're writing books that have a sense of history and breaking color lines and the struggles that we have, I think it's very important. One of the things when I first heard about Hidden Figures, my question was, and even after I saw the movie, and I have a good friend that worked in engineering as well, and one of the women here in California that broke through some color lines and was a hidden figure. My question was, why didn't we, the 20, the 30, 40, 50 women that we saw in that movie, why didn't they speak up to let us know that they were a hidden figure. No one, and I guess that's the thing with us. We need to get our stories out. And you said that, Dr. Thompson. We have stories. Our ancestors, our grandparents. Having conversations with them and then putting it down in print. And I think, Casey, this is a great time for you because with so many stories out there that's talking about our history. I think I just heard this morning that they're launching the Jackie Robinson Museum next year in 2019, 2 years from now.
Okay.
Tonight there's a story that Let It Fall about the LA riots. I was talking to Dr. Thompson about that. Yeah. So John Ridley, I think his name is, he's written that documentary and it's being aired tonight on what led up to the LA riots. And I think so I think it's very important, and I am looking forward to reading your book. I'm going to order it as soon as we get offline.
Well, you know what? Let me. Thank you so much for that, and I appreciate that. Everything you said is really correct. But let me interject something about the hidden figures. A friend of mine lives in Virginia. He told me he grew up with one of the lady's children, and I don't know which one it was. And he said they never knew. He said, we just knew they worked there. He said, but nobody said anything. And I think what it's all about, just like I said to you guys, we never told them, so we handled it and we moved on. My family never did. I never came home and told them different stories because you're doing your job, you're concentrating on doing it well. And so I think hidden figures, women, that's what they did. They had to their job and support their family, and that's what they were concentrating on. And they weren't thinking about being trailblazers. It was like, thank you, Jesus, I have a job.
Exactly, and that they let me stay here. I remember when Roots was written and Queen, the book of his sequel, and that was on TV. And I was sitting with my grandmother, and she was watching it with us, 95 years old. She's from the South, and in a plantation in the South, in Florence, Alabama. And we were watching television. She kept saying the plantation that they were using. She kept going, I've played on that plantation. And we're like, yeah, right, Grandma. And then we watched some more. and she'd say, and the next day, no, I've played on that plantation. And we're like, lady, have you lost your mind? And then finally we stopped and we said, tell us about it. And then she was absolutely right. So the plantation was next door to the plantation she was on, and we actually happened to been able to track back our history. And so the Haleys, or the family of the Haleys, they were in the plantation next to the plantation that my grandmother grew up on. And her mother was the descendant of the slave, and then she was impregnated by the son of the plantation owner. And it just so happened that plantation owner is pretty popular because he was a general in the army, and he was the surveyor that laid out the land in the city that my grandmother lived in.
And you should write that story.
We have a lot of history. But as I said, a lot of us, I think that we just do things and they didn't think about it. Because that's when I interviewed Pat Murphy, the very first one for Delta, and I asked her, did you realize it? And she said, no. She said, I just knew I was going to do a good job because she represents herself quite well. And she knew. She never thought, I never thought about me being a trailblazer. And I knew, though, that we needed to represent ourselves well. I knew that they were looking at us and thinking if we didn't do it right or correctly, no one else would be able to follow. I did know that, but I didn't think I was a big deal. I just said I wasn't going to let white people think that we were inferior.
Right.
I mean, and so that was always, I think, black people's concentration is that we know we have to be better. We know we have to know more, and we know that if we want it, we've got to work hard at it. And that's what's missing, I think, with some of these people who I feel lost. They don't understand that.
Right, exactly. I'm going to share something with you guys. I don't know if you all know Dr. George Fraser.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know him, Casey?
I don't think so.
Okay, he's out of the Cleveland, Ohio area, but he is definitely a civil rights leader, but he also is all about business and networking and us being together as a people. And he just came back from Egypt about a month ago, and he put something on Facebook today, and I think it kind of ties into what we're talking about. And it was this was written by Lloyd McCaughey. He addressed this comment to the British Parliament February 2nd, 1835. And it says, "I have traveled across the length and the breadth of Africa, and I have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Such wealth I have seen in this country, such high morals, values, people of such caliber, that I do not think we could ever conquer this country unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage, and therefore I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system, her culture. For if the Africans think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem, their native culture, and they will become what we want them, a truly dominated nation."
My goodness.
And I think that kind of encapsulate what we're saying here. Yeah. This is what happened to us, that we no longer felt our culture and our stories and our experiences. Yeah. We were just surviving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I applaud both of you and any author that has putting their life stories or their history or their experiences down in print. So, and I think it's very important with Shonda Rhimes. She's like a trailblazer right now. Being able to let us know that we have a voice and we need to get our voice heard by whatever means necessary.
I totally agree with you. I really, really do. And thank you for that, because it is hard work. It takes dedication, because you always meet someone who says they're going to write a book. And I sit and I smile and I try to encourage them, because I say, it takes a lot. I mean, I was writing, 8 hours, 10 hours a day. When my coach was saying, when I first got it, she says, well, we really try to get people to write at least an hour a day. And I thought, well, I'm already writing 8 hours a day. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I just write. I enjoyed it. I was determined. But people fall short because they're not focused and they're not determined, and they don't see the need for what they are saying or what they want to do. We're missing so much. I wish we could get it back.
Well, I think we're in a good place. I think your book, is a step. I think whatever Shonda Rhimes has written is a step. I think everybody that now is like, it's time. It's like we've become a volcano and we're overflowing to get our stories. Hidden Figures is out there, Jackie Robinson, and all the stories that we've heard from, and we've been reading, and we just need to encourage our young people, which is why it's so important for Black Writers on Tour, because I think there's a whole grouping of workshops for kids.
Right. They have a children's writing class and a contest showcase. We have a STEM program, Girls Pursuing Science workshop, and business pitch competition. Then they also have an entrepreneur workshop for teens and young adults. Got a lot of new things. How to be 3 times more productive. I mean, just a lot. Empowering children, youth to dream, and then let the elders speak. That's a return. That's a staple. It's going to be on twice. And they're going to honor some people that are 100, women that are over 100.
Oh, wow.
Have been active in the community. So,
Casey, is this your first time attending?
No, this is my second time, and I came all the way across the country to come from Chicago to California. And because I believe in it, I think this is a wonderful opportunity and free. And I just hope people really come out tomorrow and take advantage of it and let's get these little bright minds and these bright eyes going, and energized to do this.
Well, I told Barbara Lindsay that I'm going to really tonight go home and upload the show and make sure that we put it all over our Facebook page, and Gilbert can put it all over his, and then I'm going to send it out to some friends of mine so we can get as many people. I'm doing a workshop there tomorrow from 11 to 11:45. I got to leave afterwards because I got another event that I have to participate in. But hopefully I'll get to meet you tomorrow.
Exactly. I look forward to it. I'll be there. I have a banner, so it'll be easy for you to find.
Okay. Are you selling your book there tomorrow?
I have my books. They would be on sale, and they're also available Amazon, Kindle, and Barnes and Noble.
Well, no, I'm gonna come specifically to you, get mine signed.
Perfect. I will look forward to it. I will look forward to it. Perfect. Well, I look forward to meeting everyone then tomorrow.
Well, good. And Gilbert and I, we got books in us, and we got Dr. Thompson over here, and we're gonna get our books out of us.
We are motivated. Yes. So, Casey, we really want to thank you for being on the show today with us. It's almost that time for us to wrap up here on the show, so we want to thank you so much on behalf of the Business Zone, and just want to let you know, feel free to come back again. Would be nice to have you in studio sharing your experiences and your expertise.
So next time you fly out to California, I know today you had Mother Love. Now, was that a fantastic experience or not?
Oh, she's wonderful, and we're going to really have a good time talking because we have friends that are my best friends, are her best friends, and so she when she thinks about it, she will remember knowing about me when she was back at Ohio State because of the friends that we have.
Very nice.
So we had a good time, a very good interview as well as this one is, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Actually, Dr. Love is the reason why some of the seed that was planted for the Business Zone, because I was on her show, and then she and I were honored 2 weeks ago for Distinguished Women of the Airways. So I spent last Saturday 3 weeks with her. Yeah,
you're doing it.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Right. She's doing it. But thank you, Casey, and you have a pleasant weekend. Okay.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. Good night.
Good night,
Casey.
Thank you. So, Dr. Thompson, you've inspired me. I'm sure you've inspired Crystal as well.
Good.
And I'll be thinking about writing books differently now. And as a matter of fact, I can't wait to get started.
And you start putting them together. You can have a short book, and Amazon will let you publish the same book with different information. You know, it might be part of the cookbook. Then this time you change it a little bit. And you can still publish it with a different ISBN number, and that's the identification number.
Well, I think what we're going to do, we're going to try to do the e-book first.
And
just to get that out there, get people buzzing about it, and then because most of my materials are copyrighted already, so it's there, it's protected, but we just need to get it out there so people can start participating.
So let me ask a question. If you're publishing a book, is it part of that process when you're self-publishing? Is the copyright part of that process?
Yes.
Okay.
You get it copywritten, and the ebook is copywritten. You know, just your publishing it copyrights it, but you know it helps when you send that form into Washington and have it copywritten. And then the good thing too, there was something that she brought up about the crowdfunding. That's something you can do too. I forgot to mention that.
Yes.
I haven't done it yet. I want to make sure I have. You know, I guess you have to have your families and friends first and build your.
I want to do it another way instead of doing the family and friends thing.
Yeah,
I want to figure out some. Yeah, I want to figure out some other type of funding. Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, I just did a crowdfund for the kids that we're sending to ATA. Yeah. To the ATA. So we did do we did it on Fundly mainly because it's a nonprofit. It's more geared to the nonprofit, but I think everyone could do that. And your money goes into you weekly.
Oh.
And so, and they'll take their percentage. Yeah. So when whatever amount you get, there's a date. Well, once a month. So there's a date, and they'll just deposit your money or forward your money straight to your bank account.
Yeah. Is that GoFundMe? Did you say?
It's called Fundly. Fudly.
Oh, okay.
So I've done some research on them. So what we did was two things, and here's the key about fundraising, is or crowdfunding is the publicity that you get. That is going to keep it on the forefront of everybody's mind. Mm-hmm. So if you got a topic or a subject that actually can get you do a press release or what have you, and it gets on the news, or it gets onto any of the news media channels or any of the shows, the internet shows, or YouTube, then it'll take off.
And it spurs the interest of others.
So what we did was we took, we got a grant. So we had a $30,000 limit that we were reaching for. And so we've been raising money, and there's like 4 or 5 different groups from the tennis world. So I separated it. So each is a team. And so each one of those teams every month had a quota or a goal that they had to reach. So $1,500 for that one, $1,500 for this one, $1,500 for that one. And then they go out and do their thing. Then I'm constantly putting pictures up, and then you're using your social media, your Instagram, your what have you, in order to get it out there. So you can write excerpts to your, give them like previews or poems or what have you. And so now, and then because we started the fund, we went after a grant, and we got $13,000, just under $14,000.
That's good.
So
Wonderful.
we are right now about $1,500 short of our goal, and tomorrow we should be able to get that for the fund. And we did events in between that, and then we all
That's a lot more than I have.
and that's how that was one of the ways. That's our success somewhere. So you have to be creative with how to get the information on, and of course it depends on what you're doing. So friends and family, probably not going to expect a whole lot from them. But with as many conferences and seminars and workshops, and if you're talking about creating workbooks and pamphlets so that they can buy it in advance.
That's true.
So that's a concept, especially on a how-to. Wouldn't you think on a how-to book?
Put pre-sales up on Amazon. Because I heard this Dave Banner, once again, I'm just finding out about him more so, but he has pre-sales for 5 years. And he's sold so much now, they're calling him saying from Apple, well, you're really doing good with the pre-sales because they keep pushing back the date. And he hadn't put out a
paper
in 5 years. But I think he went from being kind of rough rapper to now he's an activist. So his whole, and he speaks at Harvard, so it's like he's gone through this transformation. And that's what we want to see, more young people transform. And that's why I love Black Writers on Tour. I mean, it's a shame how the rappers started letting corporate America have them called our women B's and H's. And so we've got to totally reverse that. And we can do that with writing and writing positive literature, writing our history, stories we didn't know. We just got to rebuild our people. We're not whole from what happened. The slave experience destroyed us, but it didn't kill us. And that's why we're still here. We're the most strongest people in the world.
That's true.
And we're the most brilliant. And now we can show it by writing our stories down. Because a lot of stories that are published now are stories that were stolen. I mean, we've all heard about Elvis Presley, and I mean, there's so many copyright infringements. And even Prince, how when he started putting his records in his own name, and then all of a sudden he comes up dead. Whoever starts saying, I'm taking my bread back, they come up dead.
Right, exactly. So you write on the pseudonym. But you have your 12 Years a Slave, Underground Road, the Underground. So these are all stories that are coming out now, and that we're feeling comfortable enough to say, you know what, this is our history. We need to talk about our history.
I would love for us to continue a lot more because there's so much to talk about, but we ran out of time.
Time went
See,
fast.
that's it does. It does go fast. So it's one of those things, but we definitely want to welcome you back. If if you're available at any time, please let us know, and we'll love to have you on the show.
For sure, and I'm going to go check out your books and see. But I'm going to be over to you got a table there tomorrow too.
Yes.
So I'll come check you out, and Gilbert and I are going to have a conversation about the books that because we want to do some co-writing and then some individual stuff. So we're gonna
do that.
We're gonna know you after the show.
Okay.
So Crystal, anything you want to tell the audience real quickly?
Everyone, tomorrow the Black Writers on Tour. There's a whole lot going on tomorrow. But if you're on your way to Long Beach for any of the events that's going there, and I think there's a MS Walk, there's a March of Dimes Walk, there's all that. Stop by Carson first and say hello to the writers. Find and pick up some couple of great books and keep on with your journey.
Definitely. And since we ran out of time, I will save my little rendition until I'm back in 2 weeks from Vegas.
And we'll see you
I'll be
then.
in Vegas next week. So This is the Business Zone, and we're here doing a wonderful show today with
Crystal
and Gilbert, and we're out.
Dr. Thompson.
And thank you for having me on the show. I loved it.
We will be with you next week. See you later. Have a fantastic week.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.